Welcome to 12 to Your Health. I'm Dr. Derek De Silva. Well, most of us know that calcium is essential for strong bones. But apparently new research is revealing that vitamin K2 is also needed for better bone health. Here to explain is dietitian and clinical nutritionist Chris Speed. Thank you very much for joining us once again.
Thank you for having me.
So vitamin K2, tell me about that.
Vitamin K2 is a fat-soluble vitamin that unfortunately too many people in westernized society don't consume an adequate amount of, quite simply because it's not found in most foods in westernized society. It's been associated with two really important outcomes: improvement in reduction of osteoporosis and strengthening of bones. But actually one of the new findings is its effect in reducing heart disease.
Wonderful. Let's talk about this right here. What are we looking at?
You're looking at two sets of bones here. One on the left, which is more osteoporotic. You're seeing where there's actually not enough calcium in the substrate supporting a strong bone. And the one on the right, which is a lot more healthy. This is probably a bone that has experienced a lot more calcium, vitamin D, and more importantly, the long-chain vitamin K2 vitamin.
Right. And we've got another graphic that's going to be coming up shortly also on some research and some data and things like that. Could you talk about this, deficiencies?
Yeah, absolutely. In the Japanese diet, people in the north consume a very high amount of K2 owing to the consumption of a lot of fermented soybean products such as natto. This is quite simply the opposite to what we're experiencing.
Right.
Our westernized diet does not simply have enough K2 to support ample bone and heart
And we
health.
look at junk food, Western diets, Japanese diets. You can see the difference there in the green graph there. We have one more that I think we want to look at, and that's another graph on the whole idea of vitamin K2. Could you talk about this also?
Yeah, sure. Between the ages of 25 and even to the mid-30s, we are getting to our optimal peak density of bone density. And that's why it's important even from childhood all the way through adulthood, we should be consuming enough K2, especially in the long-chain MENQ7 form, to actually support optimal bone density.
You said fermented foods, that the Japanese diet. Is that pretty much the only way that you can get K2?
Correct. It's actually produced by a bacteria naturally in the fermented foods, and this particular bacteria produced preferentially this long-chain MENQ form that appears to be highly active at supporting bone health as well as heart health as well.
There are different types of vitamin K, right? We keep talking about vitamin K2. There's K1, there's K2. The difference between the two, is there a difference?
Yeah, there is. K1 is predominantly important for blood clotting factors, and it's really important. However, K2, in fact, there are various forms of K2. The shorter chain and, more importantly, the long chain MENQ7 forms are optimal for supporting bone health, removing calcium from where it's hazardous in the cardiovascular lining, and making sure it's actually being put into the bones to support optimal bone density.
Great information once again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Very good.